All right, Coach, why don't you start us off with the opening statement and open it up for questions.
Just really pleased. I thought the second half we guarded well. We executed very well. We looked like the older team on the floor. Other than missing a couple free throws and Trey Fallon, a three-point shooter, I thought our second half was really good. Our bench was terrific tonight. But I tell you what, I got so much respect because I know Brian as a player, how tough and how good he was and how good he made his teams were. But those guys fight their tail off, and they're going to be in the hunt. They're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to be in the hunt in the future with all those young guys. So give those guys a lot of credit and respect them a lot.
Greg, what step do you feel like your team took in terms of toughness based on that second half? Because it was looking a lot like yesterday's game at halftime, and it did seem like, it's almost as if the team decided that, we're the more experienced team. We can be the more talented team, and it looks like took that to heart a little bit in the second half. What did you see from your vantage point?
Yeah, it was one of the main things I put on the grease board before the game, Todd, was compete and toughness. I thought Southern had more of both of those qualities in the game before. We were just lucky enough to have some experience with some good basketball players that we gutted it out. But I didn't want that. I didn't want Southern to be the more determined and harder playing team tonight. And I thought we really valued possessions. We didn't get off to a great start with all those turnovers, but I thought we valued possessions on both ends. And what you said, Todd, we talked about a lot in the second half huddles, probably a 12-minute, 8-minute was, hey, don't let those young guys down there want it more than you. Let's take the lead from 8. Let's make it 15. Let's take it to 15 to 20. And our guys, again, other than we've been making a bunch of free throws. So, sometimes good shooters miss them. But other than missing free throws, I was very pleased.
Obviously, for Julian, he's been for a game like this to come. He's kept shooting, and, finally he saw some shots fall tonight. What do you think that means for him? And what does it mean for the team? Because obviously it really does change the way teams defend you if he's starting to convert on the offensive end.
When you work your tail off and you're a good person, good things happen to those people. And Julian's out shooting right now. I mean, he works like crazy. He's in every morning, and as a freshman, throwing him into the starting lineup and then all of a sudden people aren't guarding you. He's never had to go through that. And he was trying to learn how to play off that. Thought he was pressing defensively. He's a really good defensive player, but I thought, he was just questioning himself, and he's got to play downhill and very aggressive and very assertive. And when that's the way you play and you're not doing it, you hurt your team on the floor. So it was great to see his couple shots go in. Nobody was happier than his teammates because they know how hard he works. And I tell you, he's going to be a good player here for a long time.
What do you think was the difference for you defensively in the second half? SIU was not getting as many easy – I don't know about looks. They weren't converting them, but what do you think was better in the second half?
Well, they beat us so much just driving us yesterday. Straight line drives, and it was by a lot of guys. They back cut us, I think, 4 times. I just thought our attention to detail, our concentration, and really sticking with it. It's one thing I commend Southern for what they do. When they are on the ball, they continue to fight and fight and fight. Like if a Tyreek's driving, they show the official their hands. They're not fouling. They're very physical, and they don't give in. And we need to do that. We don't have a lockdown defender or guy, other than Trey. Trey's a tremendous defender, but we don't have that. So it's going to come with a team. We talk a lot about positioning on defense, and that'll help you a lot. And we still make a lot of mistakes, so we have to continue to improve there.
You've won 5 out of 6, 4 in a row. Where do you think the mentality of the team is in terms of how hungry they continue to need to be to get where they want to be? I guess we'll find out Sunday, but where do you sense that is right now, and is it where you want it to be?
I think it's pretty good. I do. Won. We have won 5 of 6, and we've done a lot of good things. The guys have earned those victories. But we after the rough start we had with a very difficult schedule and good teams, you just move on to the next one. I mean, you got Bradley coming in here that's 2-time defending champ. They're going to be spitting fire. They lost a couple to Loyola, but Bradley was without 2 of their top 6, I think. But when you play Loyola, that happens because they're so good. You just have to celebrate the victory. It was a very happy locker room. And when so many yesterday our bench didn't help us like it needs to. Today we had a lot of good contributions. It was a happy locker room. And like I said, some of my favorite words are tomorrow is off. Tomorrow's an off day. So give those guys tomorrow. We'll get locked in on Bradley. And we still have a lot of improving to do, Todd. We can still get a lot better.
Didn't see TJ after his early stint. What was the reason for that?
That's my decision, and what TJ has to understand is this game and our program is about a team, and I don't want people just making excuses and not being all about the team. We don't want guys being selfish on or off the floor. TJ's got some lessons to learn in that. We've had plenty of conversations about it, and after an incident there to start the game, I didn't like the way he was handling it. So I just told him you don't have to play anymore, and he doesn't. He's going to have we'll evaluate it moving forward, but he's got to make some changes, or he won't be playing.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Coach, I didn't really get to see the game at that point. Can you kind of elaborate more on exactly what was it, like a call that he didn't like or something?
I'm the head coach of the team, and I'm not always right. But I learned a lesson real early with my dad, who was my head coach. Is sometimes it's not a discussion. The coach is coaching the team. He's telling you what you need to do, and we talk tons. Coach Carey's message to our team going into it yesterday is no excuses, and we've talked about it. I've had a lot of one-on-ones with TJ, and TJ's a good basketball player that can help this team, but he's got to be about the right stuff, and it is 100% about our team. That was a really happy locker room after the game, except for one guy, and if he can't be that way.
Only other thing I had was kind of like you kind of mentioned a little bit about Bradley. What's the biggest thing you're kind of concerned about the challenges they present? They
have really good players. They're well coached. They play their tail off just like everyone in this league. I mean, it's on to the next one. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It's next one's going to be the Super Bowl. They play Thursday, and I think they'll be back at full strength, have everybody, and they're the 2-time defending champs. So we're going to have to play our best basketball.
That's all I had. Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
Greg, good. You have some pretty good young bigs. What are your impressions of Filowich this weekend?
Oh man, was impressed with him. I watched last year's games too, and I can't remember what was the big guy's name I had last year. It slips my mind.
Yeah, me too. Benson.
Yeah,
Benson.
and he was a good player and had good games against us, so he was tough. Trey is always undersized. This guy isn't the biggest, but he is a physical presence. He's smart. He's unselfish. You can't just guard him one-on-one because he's going to get right to the front of the rim. He works his tail off defensively. He's perfect for what Brian and that staff want to do. Very impressed with him. Very impressed with him. Going into the game, you're worried about a Damask who doesn't play and a Jones and doing those things, but that guy's going to be right in there on everybody's scouting report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.